This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring for you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. First, the national news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with Prime Minister of New Zealand, Christopher Luxon, on Monday. The two leaders jointly announced the successful conclusion of the historic, ambitious and mutually beneficial India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. The leaders agreed that the FTA would serve as a catalyst for greater trade, investment, innovation and shared opportunities between both the countries. Addressing media, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that this FTA turns ties with New Zealand from friendly to formidable, especially in trade and innovation. The minister also said that under the landmark agreement, New Zealand will invest $20 billion in India over the span of 15 years. President Draupadi Murmu has granted assent to the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill passed by the Parliament of India during the recently concluded winter session. President Draupadi Murmu also gave assent to the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen Bill 2025. Memorandum of Understanding was signed between DRDO and Rashtriya Raksha University in the presence of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. The MOU aims to foster collaboration in research, education, training and technology support for defence and internal security. The Indian Army has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Netaji Subhash University of Technology to collaborate in the development of software and AI-based solutions for the Indian Army. Under the MOU, the students and the faculty of NSUT will participate in live problem-solving projects of the Indian Army and get hands-on experience. India's heavy-lift rocket LVM-3 is set for a launch on December 24th, carrying IST Space Mobile's powerful Bluebird 6 satellite to low Earth orbit. The mission from the Satish Dhawan Space Centre Sriharikota will mark one of ISRO's most significant commercial flights of 2025. The 6.5-ton Bluebird 6 will be the heaviest satellite ever placed into low Earth orbit by LVM-3. Registrations for Pariksha Pe Charcha 2026 are now open. Students from class 6 to 12, teachers, parents can join this nationwide initiative to celebrate learning and approach exams with confidence and clarity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other BJP stalwarts have expressed gratitude to the people of Maharashtra for the victory of the BJP and Mahayuti in municipal council and Nagar Panchayat elections. Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to the people of Arunachal Pradesh for the victory and their support for politics of good governance at the Panchayat elections. A Mumbai-bound Air India flight AI-887 returned to the Delhi airport minutes after takeoff due to technical issue. A serious glitch was reported by the pilot on the Delhi-Mumbai Air India flight. Therefore, a full emergency was declared at 6:40 a.m. Indian Standard Time. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has sought a detailed report from Air India in an incident related to an Air India flight that developed a technical issue shortly after takeoff. The ministry has also directed the Director General of Civil Aviation to conduct a thorough investigation into the case. The government has said that there is no imminent threat to the Aravali's ecology. Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav said that ongoing afforestation and strict monitoring of mining ensure that the Aravalis continue to serve as a natural heritage and ecological shield for the nation. Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav has said that the Supreme Court's 100-meter ruling is being misinterpreted. Addressing a press conference, he urged citizens to stop spreading misinformation regarding Aravalis. The minister said that mining is allowed only in 0.19% of the range, while highlighting that as per the Apex Court ruling, 90% of the Aravali area comes under the protected zone and there are no relaxations in this regard. As per the Mastercard Economics Institute, India is expected to remain one of the fastest growing major economies in 2026, supported by strong policy measures. The Mastercard Economics Institute forecasts India's real GDP growth at 6.6% next year. Despite this moderation, India's growth outlook remains resilient. Indian equity indices ended on a positive note on Monday. At close, the Sensex added 638 points to close at 85,568. Nifty added 206 points to settle at 26,172. The Indian rupee fell 3 paise to close at 89 rupees 70 paise against the US dollar. Oil prices rose on Monday after US intercepted an oil tanker in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. Brent crude futures gained 0.86% to $61 a barrel, while US crude rose 0.8% to $57 a barrel. Gold futures maturing on 5th of February next year were priced at 136,164 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for March 5th next year maturity stood at 213,775 rupees per kilo on the MCX. Asian shares rose broadly on Monday, tracking tech-driven gains on Wall Street, while the yen floundered near all-time lows against the euro and Swiss franc as higher interest rates piled pressure on Japanese government debt. In an email interview with ANI, former Prime Minister of Bangladesh Sheikh Hasina addressed the spiral of violence in Bangladesh, which included the lynching of a Hindu man that elicited deep concern from India. Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina sharply criticized the Mohammad Yunus-led interim government for straining bilateral ties with New Delhi. She asserted that the current tensions are entirely Yunus's making, as his administration issues hostile statements against India, fails to protect religious minorities. Hasina highlighted India's decades-long role as Bangladesh's steadfast partner, emphasizing that deep fundamental ties will outlast any temporary government. Bangladesh police on Sunday said that they have no specific information to suggest that Faisal Karim Masood, the prime suspect in the killing of Inqilab Manch spokesperson Sharif Usman bin Hadi, has left the country and are actively trying to trace his whereabouts. Following a mass shooting at Bondi Beach, Australia's New South Wales State Parliament recalled to vote on proposed new laws that would impose major curbs on firearm ownership, ban the display of terror symbols and restrict protests. The proposed new laws would cap the number of firearms a person can own at 4 or up to 10 for certain groups, such as farmers. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese apologized on Monday to the Jewish community and the nation over the Bondi Beach mass shooting. He asserted that the government will work every day to protect Jewish Australians and their rights. Anthony Albanese on Monday said that he would push for tougher laws against hate speech and extremism in the wake of the country's deadliest mass shooting in decades. A helicopter flew over Bondi Beach with a message of solidarity with Australia's Jewish community as people lay flowers nearby on a day of reflection in remembrance of the 15 people killed in this gun attack. The US Coast Guard is pursuing an oil tanker in international waters near Venezuela, the second such operation this weekend and the third in less than 2 weeks, if successful. US military assets were seen operating in Puerto Rico on Sunday as Washington continued to increase its presence in the Caribbean. The activity comes amid rising tensions between the US and Venezuela as Washington increased its military presence in the Caribbean, deploying thousands of troops, an aircraft carrier, warships and fighter jets in the region. Talks were held between US, European and Ukrainian officials in Florida over the last 3 days, aimed at ending the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff called those meetings and separate talks with Russian negotiators productive and focused on shared strategic approach between Ukraine, the United States and Europe. Witkoff also said that the US-Ukraine meeting focused on further development of the 20-point plan and a multilateral security framework guarantee. Kosovo will hold elections on December 28th after a year-long political stalemate that led to the dissolution of parliament and left a €1 billion hole in the small Balkan country's shaky finances. Southeast Asian foreign ministers meet in Malaysia on Monday, seeking to end border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia that have killed at least 40 people and displaced more than 500,000 this month. Thai foreign minister called for demining for a ceasefire to prevail. Thailand and Cambodia officials will meet on December 24th. At least 16 people were killed and several others injured after a bus lost control and struck a concrete barrier before rolling on the road in Indonesia's Java main island early on Monday. We're heading into a short break here on Express News. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's resume. Intense cold wave conditions and dense fog continue to disrupt normal life across several northern states, with the India Meteorological Department issuing alerts amid persistent foggy conditions. Several cities including Delhi, Ayodhya, Jaipur, Banaras and Jaisalmer witnessed low visibility as winter conditions intensify. IMD predicted a partly cloudy sky with moderate fog in many places. The maximum temperature is expected to be around 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, while the minimum temperature will fall between 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport has issued advisory to all passengers travelling from the Delhi airport. The airport continues to monitor conditions closely to ensure smooth and safe operations. The Met Department said dense to very dense fog conditions during night and morning hours are very likely in some parts of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana till December 27th. According to the latest weather update, light to moderate snowfall is likely to continue at many places in Kargil and Zanskar. Sonmarg in the Kashmir Valley witnessed the first snowfall of the season, covering the region in a thick blanket of white. At the same time, Srinagar continues to experience a persistent cold wave with foggy mornings. Heavy fog is visible near Dal Lake, with boat rides and sightseeing still operating. Cold desert conditions intensified as dense fog blanketed the Rajasthani city of Jaisalmer. Prayagraj is witnessing a surge in migratory birds as thousands of Siberian species have arrived at the Triveni Sangam to escape the harsh winter of their homeland. In Prayagraj, migratory birds have added to the beauty of the Sangam, attracting tourists and boosting local livelihoods. Meghalaya's capital city Shillong is aglow with festive cheer as Christmas approaches, with markets beautifully decorated and illuminated. The 10-day Shilpagram festival began in Rajasthan's Udaipur, celebrating India's rural arts, handicrafts and folk traditions. Artisans from across the country are showcasing traditional crafts, music and dance, attracting visitors and tourists in large numbers in Shilpagram festival. In Vietnam, the boat racing is a festival regarded as the king of sports in the traditional festivals of the southern Khmer community. The race brought together 12 Nago boat teams with more than 2,000 athletes representing Khmer pagodas across the Mekong Delta region. In a small workshop in Acolman, bright paper and glue cover the tablets as artisans prepare for Mexico's festive season. Among them is 12-year-old Jaden Hernandez Ortiz, carefully shaping a traditional 7-pointed pinata. Hernandez is the third generation in his family to carry on the craft, a tradition started by his grandmother decades ago in Mexico. Rome will introduce paid entry for some tourists at the 6 monuments and museums, including Trevi Fountain, that has so far been free, Mayor Roberto Gugliarteri said. From February 1st, visitors will be charged to access the Fontana di Trevi viewing area in front of the basin, with tickets costing €2. In Italy, this Christmas, Santa Claus swapped his traditional sleigh for more unusual forms of transport, including bicycles, motorbikes and even gondolas, as festive parades rolled through city streets. In Venice, festive celebrations took to the water with the 13th edition of the Regatta dei Babbi Natale along the Grand Canal. This is dubbed as the Santa Claus Regatta. 32 boats rowed by Santas raced from the Church of San Zaccaria to Foscari University, with prizes awarded for each category and the best decorated boat. A festively decorated Santa Claus boat lit up the Rio Negro community with fireworks, bringing presents, joy and holiday cheer to the indigenous and riverine families in remote Amazon regions. The initiative in Brazil, organized by Manaus City Hall, aims to provide Christmas celebrations to families in isolated areas, delivering gifts and festive experiences directly to their communities via river transport. Santa Claus arrived by boat to a riverside community in the Carreiro da Várzea municipality in Amazonas state, spreading holiday cheer among parents and children. Dressed as Santa, Jorge Alberto Barroso greeted families and handed out presents to children from the community. Thousands of people dressed as Santa Claus raced through the Spanish capital, Madrid, for the annual Red Cross charity run before Christmas. The organizers in Madrid estimated that more than 10,000 people, including children dressed as elves, took part in the 4.5-kilometer run through the center of the city. Santa Claus traded his sleigh for scuba gear, making a holiday appearance beneath the waves of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Santa brought along underwater elves and a festively dressed mermaid to mingle with some very curious marine life at Pleasure Reef off Key Largo. In Croatia, divers brought a bit of festive fun to the depths by planting a Christmas tree at its bottom. 3 divers from the Underwater Sports Society took the decorated Christmas tree in a Santa Claus suit, hat and beard into the depths of the lake on the outskirts of the Croatian capital. A firefighter dressed as Santa Claus rappelled 70 meters from a bridge, delighting children in a suburb north of Guatemala City with gifts as part of an initiative to support low-income families during the holiday season. On to entertainment news now. Director James Cameron's third Avatar movie adventure racked up roughly $345 million in global box office sales over its opening weekend, distributor Walt Disney said. According to Disney estimates, the movie Avatar: Fire and Ash topped box office charts in the US and Canada, where it brought in $88 million of its worldwide total. And let's give you some sports news now. New Zealand thrashed West Indies by 323 runs in Mount Maunganui, winning the series 2-0. Conway and Latham made twin centuries, while Duffy's 5 wickets sealed the dominant victory. Tom Latham and Devon Conway became the first Test openers to score centuries in both innings, combining a record 505 runs in one match. Women cricketer Jemima Rodriguez, unbeaten 69, powered Indian women to an 8-wicket win over Sri Lanka, chasing 122 in 14.4 overs, with debutant Vaishnavi Sharma's economical spell shining. Smriti Mandhana became the first Indian woman to surpass 4,000 T20 runs, achieving the milestone in Visakhapatnam against Sri Lanka. New Zealand opening batter Susie Bates has been ruled out for 3 months due to a quadricep injury. Australia retained the Ashes in a dominating fashion as they defeated arch-rivals England by 82 runs on the final day of the third Test in Adelaide. The result gave Australia an unassailable 3-0 lead in the 5-match series after just 11 days of play, equaling the shortest period in which the Ashes have been decided in the last 100 years. Morgan Rogers Brace secured Aston Villa 2-1 win over Manchester United at Villa Park, lifting Emery's side to third place and narrowing the gap on leaders Arsenal to 3. Barcelona beat 10-man Villarreal as Rafinha scored early and Lamine Yamal struck after half-time, sealing Flick's side's 8th straight win in La Liga. Morocco opened their Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a 2-0 win over Comoros as Brahim Diaz and El Kaabi struck second-half goals, extending their record-breaking winning streak to 19 matches. On to tennis now. Nick Kyrgios will return at the Brisbane International with a wild card after injury struggles. The 2018 champion eyes a comeback before the Australian Open. South Korea's On Se-young claimed a record-equalling 11th title of the year with victory at the Badminton World Tour Finals in Hangzhou. France's Christo Popov beat world champion Shi Yuki to win the Men's World's Tour Finals title. Shubman Gill, Abhishek Sharma and Arshdeep Singh have been included in the Punjab 18-member squad for the Vijay Hazare Trophy. And Arunachal Pradesh kept their Santosh Trophy hopes alive and handed host Meghalaya a lifeline with a narrow 1-0 win over Sikkim in Group E at the Polo Ground in Shillong. So that's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.